Good morning, Ranvijay and Murdula. Good morning, both of you. Today we are going to revise the lesson that is the ball poem, which is one of the poems, important poems, I must say, from your textbook. Okay, so let's go through the theme of the poem and then we shall go ahead with the explanation line by line. Okay, so let's begin, dear students. Good morning, Primanshu. So as you can see, dear students, onto your screen, uh, theme first. The poem highlights the hardcore reality of life that everyone has to go through someday or the other. So, what does the poem highlight? The poem highlights the hardcore reality of life that everyone has to go through someday or the other. The poem also focuses on how to come to terms with our grief resulting out of any losses. The poem also focuses on how to come to terms with our grief resulting out of any losses. The poem stresses on the fact of assuming self responsibility and being accountable for our own possessions. Okay. The poem also stresses on the fact of assuming self responsibility and being accountable for our own possessions. Okay. So, do you understand, dear students, what is the theme? The main theme is you can see here, like every one of us has to go through some sort of crisis or the other in our life at certain stage or the other. Okay, because life is not a roller coaster ride for us. We have a lot of challenges, we have a lot of impediments, interruptions in our life. Therefore, what happens when we are faced with challenges of life? We become depressed, we become disappointed. But it is important, equally important for us to come to terms with our grief, with the losses resulting out of some challenges in our life. Okay, so it is important to come to terms with the grief. We must develop the mental setup of coming to terms with our grief. Everyone will have some grief or the other, sorrow, some sorrow, sometimes in their life. But it is life, so this happiness and sorrow come in cycle to each one of us. Okay, they are inevitable in our life. So whenever we have some kind of losses resulting out of some challenges in our life, we must learn to come to terms to it, because we have to accept it. If we do not accept the losses sometimes in our life, which comes sometimes in our life, in that case we shall not get peace of mind. Therefore it is very important to come to terms with the reality and accept the losses, accept the grief that sometimes comes in our life. So that is one of the themes. Another theme is the poem stresses on the fact of assuming self responsibility and being accountable for our own possessions. Yes, so first of all we need to be responsible. We have to take up the role of self responsibility. Okay, we have to be responsible for our own things. Whatever is ours, we should be very much careful about. We should assume responsibility for something that belongs to us. Okay, otherwise what happens? We might part with this particular object if we are not responsible, for the things that belongs to us. In that case, whenever there is a loss, whenever it is lost, in that case, again we have to have some kind of disappointment or grief. Therefore it is better we become self-responsible and accountable for everything that belongs to us. And even after that, of course, the things, nothing stays with us for a long time. So even if something gets lost or something gets eroded or something gets damaged, in that case also we must develop that mindset so that we come to terms with the with the loss of that particular favorite things of us. Sometimes, in spite of being self-responsible, in spite of being accountable, sometimes things don't remain with us. Somehow or the other, the things become damaged or lost. In that case, we have nothing to do. We need to just develop the mindset that everything in this world is prone to damage or prone to destruction. So if we develop such mindset, then even if something gets stolen or something gets lost or something gets damaged, we can come to terms with it. Okay, so that is what is the sort of uh, reality that we need to learn, and the poem also focuses on this particular aspect. Okay, so good morning, Laxman, Vaishnavi, Niraj, Shreyash. We are continuing with our explanation of, the ball poem. Okay, dear students. So let's start now. I've already explained you the theme. Stanza 1. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. No use to say, there are other balls. Okay? Because uh, the poet thinks that it is of no use to give false assurance. So, what is the boy now who has lost his ball? What he is to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street, and then merrily over there it is in the water. So the boy has emotional attachment for the ball. That is why he is grieving over the loss of his ball. But the poet says that he doesn't want to give sort of a false assurance to the boy that okay, you don't cry or grieve over the loss of your ball, I shall buy another one for you. The poet wants the boy to learn the very important lesson of life, that you need to be responsible, you need to assume responsibility for the thing that you own. And if you assume responsibility for something that you own, then the thing will not be damaged, or the thing will stay for you, with you for at least some time. So the boy is very small, and the poet wants the boy to learn the important lesson of life, that is to assume self responsibility for whatever belongs to us. So that is the literal meaning, like merrily bouncing down the street means here poetic way of saying happily. The ball has been personified in the poem. The ball has been personified, therefore merrily. The word merrily is used for the human beings, therefore it is used here, but it is used here for the ball, therefore it's personified. The ball has been personified. Merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over in the water body. Okay, the ball skipped from boy's hand and went into the street and fell into a water body. Now, stanza 2. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball is worthless. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the ball. Shaking grief, the boy is in a state of sadness due to sudden loss of his ball. The boy is in a state of sadness due to sudden loss of his boy. So an ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. As the boy has parted with the ball, as the ball has gone missing from his hand, therefore the boy appears to be possessed, or appears to be very much uh, troubled, and he is in a state of sadness. As he stands rigid, trembling, he is also trembling. Okay, Trembling means shivering or shaking. Staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. Harbor here, a part of the ocean, a lake that is next to land. Okay, so it could be a lake also that is next to land, that is harbor here. So the boy, the poet being an onlooker does not speak to console the boy. The poet wants the boy to shoulder responsibility from his early childhood. Okay, so all his young days into the harbor means here the poet could see the young boy could only see the ball sliding down, okay, into the water body. Okay, he cannot do anything. His ball went, I would not, and the poet says, I would not interfere on the boy, because the boy has to learn the an important lesson of life. A dime another boy is worthless. Dime means 10 cents. Okay, at 10 cents or another ball is absolutely worthless. Okay, the boy is in a state of sadness due to sudden loss of his ball. The ball skipped from his hand and landed itself into a harbor. The poet, being an onlooker, does not speak to console the boy. The poet wants the boy to shoulder responsibility from his early childhood. That is why he is saying, I would not intrude on him. I would not intrude on him. I would not interfere in the matters of him. A dime is a currency of money. It is 10 cents, equivalent to 10 cents in US. It is equivalent to 10 cents. So he said that money or another ball is worthless here. Okay, because what happens if I replace the lost ball with another, with some money, so that he can buy another ball, or I personally present or give him another ball that is worthless. In that case, the boy will not be able to learn the important lesson of life, that he has to take up the responsibility of the thing that belongs to him. That is why the poet does not want to interfere in the matters of the boy. Okay. Next, stanza 3. Now he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls, balls will be lost always. Little boy, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. Okay, so the poet is saying here that the boy senses his first responsibility in a world of possession. World of possession means something that is owned or possessed. Something that is owned or possessed is called possession. So it is a world of possession, dear students. What does it mean? World of possession means this world, people are governed by the craze of owning more and more things. That is what is the meaning of world of possessions. In a world where human beings have a craze for owning more and more things, understood? So that is what world of possessions is all about. The world of possessions refers to our society, which is governed by craze for owning things. The ball here is a metaphor for any matter that is prone to loss. Here, the ball is a metaphor for anything that is prone to loss. It's a metaphor because it could be anything. In this poem, it's ball. Somewhere in our life, it could be anything that we value the most, anything that belongs to us, anything that we have emotional attachment for. So, the ball in this respect is a metaphor for everything that we own, everything that we have emotional attachment for, everything that belongs to us. Okay, so in a world of possessions, I explained you what is the meaning of world of possessions. The world of possessions refers to our society, which is governed by craze for owning things. People will take balls, balls will be lost always. This is very common in this society. Something that belongs to us might be lost, might be stolen, might be damaged. Okay, but we must, in spite of that, we must assume responsibility for things that belongs to us. Then there is less possibility of being lost or stolen. Okay, even if we, even after we become responsible for the things that we own, things might get lost or damaged. In that case, we can't do anything. but the poet wants the boy to take up the responsibility, okay, to learn what it means when we lose something that belongs to us. Understood? So this particular message the poet wants to convey to the boy. The ball here is a matter for any matter that is prone to loss. The poet says that no one can buy the memory that is attached to the lost ball. Money cannot buy the emotion attached to the ball. Money cannot buy the emotion that is attached to the ball. Therefore, it is useless to give, money equivalent to the cost of the ball or the ball itself. Why? Because if we replace the lost ball with money and or another ball, in that case what will happen? In that case, the boy will not be in a position to understand what it means to lose something which belongs to you. Oh, thank you. So that is why, dear students, it is important to know. It is very, very important for us to know, to very much important for us to know as to how to take care of our own stuff, and how to it is important to know that we should be responsible for our own things, and that is exactly the message all throughout the poem the poet is trying to give. That is the intention of writing this poem, okay. Because many things we have or we belong, many things that belong to us, or the many things that we own, have some memory or the other attached to it, okay. So we might replace the lost or damaged product with something new, but we cannot replace the memory, we cannot replace the emotion that is attached to a particular object that has become damaged or lost. Understood? So that is also what the writer, the poet, wants to convey. Okay, so I hope you have understood stanza 3. Okay, so now let's proceed to the next stanza, that is stanza 4. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes this epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. So he's learning well behind his desperate eyes. Here it means hope against hope. Desperate eyes here means hope against hope. Desperate eyes here means hope against hope. So here the boy is learning uh, this epistemology of loss. What is the meaning of epistemology of loss? The boy epistemology of loss means what it means to lose something. What it means to lose something. Okay, epistemology is a Greek word. Epistomes, which means knowledge. So epistemology is the study of the nature of knowledge itself, and in the context of this poem, what it means to lose something. Okay, so he's learning well behind his desperate eyes this epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know. See, this is the message of the poem. This is the message here. How to stand up the loss, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. Okay, dear students, here the poet wants every one of us to know in general, and the boy in particular, that every one of us at some point or the other is going to miss somebody or the other, okay, or going to part with something or the other that belongs to us. So that is quite natural, okay, that things don't stay with us for many days, people don't stay with us for many days. So this is the universal law. But even after we experience such a loss of either a thing getting lost or a person being dead who is very close to us. This is quite normal. This will happen. This is inevitable. Death is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. Damage is inevitable. But in spite of losing someone we love, in spite of losing something that we love, we should not grieve for many days. Why? Because the poet wants us to know how to come to terms with the loss. Okay, only when we accept the reality that everything is prone to destruction, everything is prone to loss, then we shall learn that we should come to terms with the loss. And once we learn how to come to terms with loss, we shall not grieve for many days. Understood? And the poet says that it is universal. We have to lose. Okay? It is the law of the universe that one day every man will learn how to adjust with the grief of losing something. It is the law of the universe that the things will be lost. Okay? The poet seems to convey the message to us that every human being learns to adjust with the loss after he himself undergoes the experience of losing something. The poet seems to convey the message to us that every human being learns to adjust with the loss. Every human being learns. What does he learn? He learns to adjust with the loss after he himself undergoes the experience of losing something. And of course, so that is also another point. Whenever a person loses something, okay, he experiences the pain, and by experiencing the pain, he automatically learns how to come to terms with the pain. Okay, that is also one of the things. So until and unless you experience the loss, you cannot realize the importance of losing something. Understood? So only when a person loses something, then he and experiences the pain himself, then he comes to know what it means to lose something, right? The poet seems to convey the message to us that every human being learns to adjust with the loss after he himself undergoes the experience of losing something. Okay, so he is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must know, one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. Most know, see, most know many days means many people know how to stand up or how to come to terms with the loss after himself, after having experienced that loss himself or herself. So that is the meaning of and most know many days how to stand up. How the meaning of most know how many days how to stand up means most people know how to come to terms with the loss after they themselves experience similar loss. Okay, and before that the poet says like how to stand up, knowing every man must one day know, and every man must also know that know that they should come to terms with the loss. Okay, because it is inevitable, dear students. Being parted with the people, with the thing we love, is inevitable. It has to come one day or the other. So this is the message that the poet has given to us. Okay, that things will be lost, things will be stolen, things will be damaged, but at the end of the day we need to learn that we need to learn how to come to terms with the grief. And if you do not know, if you do not learn, then we need to be we shall continue to grieve for something, okay, that we have lost, which is also not good, because if we continue to remain sad or disappointed for a very long period of time, in that case you will torment your soul also. It will, your soul will suffer. That is why it is not good. So the earlier we become we become reconciled, or the earlier we adjust ourselves to the loss, the better it is for our soul also. Therefore, we must learn how to come to terms with the grief early on in our life. Okay, like many people who have experienced the pain themselves come to know about the pain after they have experienced it. Okay, so that's all about the poem, dear students. I hope you understood, and this is the message that the poet wants to give to the boy also. In a world of possession, people will take the balls will be lost. Okay, no one will buy a ball back. Money is external. Money cannot bring everything. Money cannot buy everything. Money cannot buy the emotion. Money cannot buy the attachment that is with the ball. So you must learn how to take responsibility for your own things, so that so that you can protect the things that belongs to you. That is number one. And number two, even if we become responsible enough, we shall certainly lose something one day or the other. In that case, we must learn how to come to terms with this. Okay, these are the two messages that the poet has given to us in this poem. So before we wind up, recapitulation: the poem highlights the sadness of a boy for losing a ball. From the very loss of the ball, he will come to terms with the loss in due course of time. The ball is a metaphor for everything that you own or possess. The poem teaches us the inescapable truth of life, that we shall certainly part with things or people, including our near and dear ones, one day or the other. But we need to learn to come to terms with every loss. Loss is inevitable. Loss is a must, dear students, in human life. But what makes us strong to stand up against any kind of loss is our positive attitude, which becomes a catalyst to bear the loss in life. Okay? What makes us strong to stand up against any kind of loss is our positive attitude, which becomes a catalyst to bear the loss in life. Okay, so that's all about the poem, dear students. And there are some literary devices given. You can go through these literary devices from my website. You can type the ball poem, then this page will open up. You can revise the NCERT solution also from there. Okay, I have already written for you. Okay, so that's it, dear students. That's all for the day. That's all for the day. And those of you, some of you haven't, those who are from section B and are watching me now, please forward your consent, yes or no, for the reopening of the schools. Okay, we are planning to reopen it next week onwards. So those who are from section B and are watching me can text me yes or no on Google Classroom. Okay, you ask your parents and let me know quickly. Okay, some of them have of course responded, some of them haven't. Those of you who haven't responded, please do respond in favor of yes or no on the Google Classroom, so that we can arrange accordingly the chairs and all that what is required. Okay, so thank you, bye bye, and have a nice time. And I hope you, most of you have already submitted me the project, art integration project. And if one or two groups hasn't submitted, so please do submit quickly. Okay, yeah, Ashibad, I got your consent actually. It's okay. Laxman will also come. Niraj will also come. So please write once in the on the Google Classroom. Thank you, Laxman. Thank you, Niraj, Ashibad, Madhu, Mridula, Arpita, Yog, Pramanshu, then Vaishnavi, Ranbijay. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.